Welcome to the Darkside's Twisted List Bizzare Body Modifications. Welcome to another episode. Our first up is pierced glasses. James Soy and Oliver Gibson have come up with pierced glasses, the most minimalist eyewear since the pince-nez was invented in the 1840s. Personally, I feel this looks rather painful and more of a pain in the ass than anything else. Next up, we have another rather bizarre body modification. This one is extraocular implant, the implantation of jewelry in the outer layer of the eye. Apparently it was first done in the Netherlands. It has come to the U.S. Recently, a corneal surgeon at Phyllis Wills Hospital says that this is an invasive surgery where they cut the surface layer of the eye open and put a little piece of jewelry in it. It hasn't been performed on many people, but the possibility for infection and complication is definitely there. It's definitely something to keep an eye on. Now for our next bizarre body modification, we have anal stretching. Anal stretching. The process of anal stretching is a lot like earlobe stretching, except you don't wear jewelry around the clock. Like stretching a piercing, it involves slow and increasingly larger play over an extended period of time. The image is for tools to aid in this modification. Another one I personally would stay away from. Next up, we have corneal tattooing. Eyeball tattooing has been around for a very long time. In the 19th century, it was commonly used to correct cosmetic defects in blind eyes. The procedure can be performed with a traditional tattoo needle or syringe. The eye is simply held open while the pigment, which is the exact same type used in a regular tattoo, is injected into the eyeball. Next up, we have pearling. Pearling is the practice of permanently inserting small beads made of various materials beneath the skin of the genitals, the labia, or the shaft of the foreskin of the penis. As well as being an aesthetic practice, this is usually intended to enhance the sexual pleasure of your partner during vaginal or anal intercourse. The practice seems to have been fairly common across the world and is done quite a bit today. Personally, I've never come across one. It's not something I would do. Tight lacing, also called corset training and waist training. This is the practice of wearing a tightly laced corset to achieve extreme modifications to the figure and posture and experience the sensation of a very tight corset. Those who practice tight lacing are called tight lacers. Some tight lacers call the corsets they wear training corsets. That is an extremely tiny waist. It's almost like she's cut in half. Next up, we have tooth filing. Tooth filing is a form of body modification in which people file their natural teeth to create a desired look or shape. This one I actually think is pretty cool. As long as it's not taken to an extreme, it does have a pretty interesting effect. Next is tongue splitting, also one with an interesting effect. It's a type of body modification in which the tongue is cut centrally from its tip part of the way towards its base, forking the end. In most cases, the split is created through scalpeling or surgical laser. Self-modifiers often choose to achieve this split by gradually tightening nylon bindings inserted through the existing tongue piercing over a long period of time. This is a very long, arduous technique, and it requires a high tolerance for pain. Not something which I have. Although, again, the effect is rather cool. Earlobe stretching. Most people can stretch to at least a 2 GA, which is a 1/4 inch, and still have the tissue return to normal when they remove the jewelry. But there really are no guarantees. Don't stretch your ears unless you're certain you'll be okay with it forever. Once the elastic limit of the skin has been passed or a large amount of additional tissue has been built up, the hole will not close. Many of people who stretch their ears are known as gauge queens, and some of them take quite a amount of pride in that. And some of it looks very, very cool. Subdermal implants. It's a kind of body modification jewelry that is placed under the skin, therefore allowing the body to heal over the implant, creating a raised design. Many people who have these implants use them in conjunction with other types of body modifications to create a desired dramatic effect. Last but not least, we have branding. Human branding is the process in which a mark, usually a symbol or ornamental pattern, is burned into the skin of a living person with the intention that the resulting scar makes it permanent. This is also performed using hot or cold iron. It therefore uses the physical techniques of livestock branding on a human. It's almost like a permanent 3D tattoo. And I'd like to thank everybody again for joining us for our Twisted List, and join us for more in the future.